Pork chop! Big man, check it out! People are watching me on bootleg cable! Okay, I've tried to record this video like 10 times and it's just not working, so we're gonna shoot from the hip here. Hi, my name is Matthew. I'm the creator of The Green Show and Somewhere and Nowhere. You've probably seen me on YouTube Shorts, or maybe you've seen my longer form stuff. This video was supposed to be a 1,000 subscriber Q&A celebration type video, but I feel like we need to have a state of the show address, where I get up on my soapbox and I say, here's what the show is, here's where it's been, here's where it's going. Before I talk about the show and where it's going and everything, I want to answer the questions that you guys left on my post on the community tab where I said I'm doing a Q&A. Quick side note, I didn't know what to put in the background, so you're just going to watch me play Sonic Triple Trouble, the 16-bit remake. Alright, ready? Let's answer some questions. Animatrix1490 wants to know, how did you get started animating? This is a great question. It actually almost became its own video, but it got kind of long and rambly, so I'll just answer it here. It all actually started with drawing comics around 2nd grade. I really used it as a tool to pass the time. I found out at an early age that adults and authority figures don't like you playing video games or being on a computer late, but if you ask for a piece of paper and a pencil, no one's gonna say no. So I used comics as a way to pass the time. I'll show some of them on screen here. I still kept them. They're not great, but I mean, what do you expect? I'm in 2nd grade. Just a PSA, don't throw away your artwork, don't delete your files, keep that stuff so you can look at it, whether it's to see how you progress or just for inspiration in the future, keep it. Well, drawing comics started off as a way to pass the time. What really kept me drawing comics was the validation from classmates and from strangers. There's actually a funny story where in 6th grade, I was sitting on the ground at my brother's cross-country meet. You know, I'm sitting like crisscross, I'm drawing on my clipboard, and a kid who's older than me from another team just got done racing, walked over, looked, saw that I was making a comic, read the whole thing over my shoulder, laughed, said good job, and walked away. Like, chef's kiss. Sweet, sweet validation. Around 6th grade too, I started watching Homestar Runner, which was a huge inspiration for me. I also started watching Family Guy when my parents went to bed. Sorry, Mom. And the whole time I'm watching these, I'm thinking, I can do that. That doesn't look that hard. Until I saw that in 2009, Seth MacFarlane stated it takes $2 million to make an episode of Family Guy. So a 20-minute long cartoon became not an option. But Homestar Runner, 3 to 5 minutes, that seems doable. I continued animating through junior high. I was actually part of the yearbook class, where part of that class was working on the school broadcast. It was like a weekly show where we talked about like what's for lunch and what sporting events are happening. But my teacher was a G, and he had the entire Adobe suite on all the computers in the lab. And I was like, hey, check it out. I can make cartoons for the weekly broadcast. I was then put in charge of the weekly broadcast, and I made cartoons either for intros or just for little bits in the middle, and people thought they were fairly funny. Either that or they're more impressed that I could make a cartoon. At the end of 8th grade, our principal actually gave me their principal's award for making the cartoons, and I was like, there it is, I'm gonna be an animator when I grow up. Fast forward to the summer between 8th grade and 9th grade, I decided I was gonna make my first like real cartoon. It's gonna be over a minute long, and it was called The Meteor. It's about 3 just characters. A meteor is coming towards Earth, and they had to figure out how to stop it. I'm not going to show the whole cartoon to you guys because I don't like it. There's some unsavory jokes in there, but I want to bring your attention to this little gem here. You hear that? Ow, thub my toe? My friends thought that was the funniest thing in the world. But not in like a haha that's a good joke, but more in like a why did you say that haha, and repeated that all the way through senior year of high school. Between worrying that I was going to have another ow thub my toe type joke in another cartoon, and doing things that teenagers normally do like sports, hanging out with friends, stuff like that, life, I didn't have time to animate, and it really fell to the wayside. So much so that I kind of forgot that I wanted to become an animator, and I ended up going into engineering, which I have zero regrets about. I love engineering and I love my job, but in the back of my head, I still kind of describe myself as an animator. Towards the second half of college, I started animating a bit more. I got one of those cheap mono-price tablets and was drawing things. Made some cartoons for friends, I did some stuff on Fiverr, and then after I graduated, I said, I need to make a show. This needs to happen, and that's how Somewhere and Nowhere came about. Kind of a long-winded answer. I told you I was going to make a whole video on it, but I think this is better. That's how I started animating. What are some of your favorite animated movies or shows? My favorite animated movie has to be The Emperor's New Groove. Either that or the end of Evangelion. I don't watch a lot of animated TV shows, but when I have, I really enjoyed Regular Show, and of course Family Guy and American Dad, but those shows just kind of go on in the background and I do chores, so I'm not sure if that counts, but based on watch time, they're probably up there. I did go through a bit of an anime phase towards the end of high school and early college. This was my sad boy era when I was watching Evangelion and Hunter x Hunter, or whatever else I could find on kissanime123.ru.virus. However, I haven't been able to get back into anime. The closest I've gotten to getting back into anime has been reading Berserk, which I've enjoyed, but life's just gotten busy and I haven't really gotten back into it. Maybe someday. I owe that to my brother because he recommended it to me. Jude6088 wants to know, what are the origins and inspirations behind Green, Porkchop, and Big Man? So Green is kind of how I see myself on a bad day. A little dumb, a little naive, still likes Bionicles, just kind of going through the motions trying to get through life. In fact, the latest episode of The Green Show where he travels back in time to stop himself from wearing a pink shirt, that happened. I wore an extra small, bright pink express shirt to school in 9th grade, and it looked like I painted it onto my skin. Green has turned into a conduit for me to vent. Porkchop, on the other hand, while he started off as the more serious character, has really kind of just turned into my brother. Someone who's a bit more serious, a bit more methodical, smart, critical of Green, which would be me, but overall has Green's best intentions at heart. Big Man is not based off of anyone, although someone did ask me if it was based off of them, and I had to confirm, no, I'm not making fun of you. I don't think you have small legs. That's not what I'm doing here. Big Man has also gone through a lot of changes. He started off as this big dumb guy who refused to go through the stoplight because he follows rules to a fault. And he stopped being fun to write for after like episode 4. He felt one-dimensional. I also really try to keep the show fairly PG, and writing for Big Man presented a challenge every time, and that was, how do you tell the difference between someone who makes dumb decisions and someone with low intelligence? Because when the fun comes from someone who has low intelligence, it can be easy for that to seem like you're making fun of someone with a disability, and that's not my intention here. So I made him a smart lawyer who also still follows rules to a T, and I find that way more fun to write for. Jude also wants to know, what's your favorite episode of the series? It's either episode 8, Heist, or The Green Show episode 4, Duplicates. Both of them have Hampton in it. I love writing for Hampton. And both of them tell stories I didn't think I was going to tell when I started this show, but I just love them. I still giggle anytime I think about Green having the little coffin next to him because he accidentally killed the duplicate of himself with his golf club. It's perfect. Ben H. Media wants to know, any plans to expand somewhere and nowhere beyond The Green Show, like how Homestar Runner had Teen Girl Squad and various shorts featuring different characters? Yes, and I need to do that. I don't know if I want to continue with the sketchbook Green thing or have a different dimension. I want the characters to still kind of coincide with the main characters. But to answer your question, yes. Also, Ben is an animator as well. Check out his channel. He has a pilot called Don't Touch the Props. It's great. G4L4C71C_DUD3 wants to know, Pop-Tart preference, toasted or raw? Now, I much prefer a toasted Pop-Tart with a glass of milk on a brisk fall morning, but a raw Pop-Tart has come in handy more times than I can count. Like when I was a process engineer a couple of years ago and we were coming up from a long downtime, it was really hot inside the facility, and during the 16th hour I was there, my boss and I had to take 5-minute shifts watching a PLC to make sure it didn't fall. After that, I was really hungry, I was dehydrated, and when we were done watching this PLC, I ran straight to the break room and I had a raw Pop-Tart and a Gatorade. The spike in blood sugar that I got from that, I swear it turned my brain into fireworks. It was the best raw Pop-Tart I've ever had. So there's a reason to have both. Thea Les wants to know, more Cloud Dog? Yes, there will be more Cloud Dog. You will see Snoot. Snoot made his grand appearance in the Dog Show episode of The Green Show. That's also one of my favorites. Lime Slush wants to know, do you ever plan on a career in VTubing? I feel like that's jumping the gun because I haven't done streaming. Maybe I'll try streaming first and then try VTubing. I think I have the software on my computer to do it, and it would be fun to have Green on there. I'm putting this in the ideas bin. Thank you. Maybe I'll try that before the year's over. NixonBubble says, did you know your advice on the r/ZimmyZession subreddit helped me improve my stuff enough to eventually get to 5 p.m. the game? Thank you so much, dude. Also sorry for the self-promo. NixonBubble is actually like a day one fan. We crossed paths on the Homestar Runner subreddit. The advice he's referring to is when I found that he has his own subreddit with his own comics. And I said, these are great, you should try animating them. And I guess that advice helped him enough to improve his stuff to make a game. So yeah, keep it up, Nixon. Whew. Okay, so that was the Q&A portion of the video. I want to say thank you again to everyone for asking those questions. I'll probably do another one of these at like 5,000 or 10,000, assuming I ever reach that point. So now let's get into the second part of the video, which is the state of the show address. I've been making this show for almost 4 years now, and it's really transformed from the episodic show that it started off as, to some shorts, to The Green Show, to 15 to 20 second long The Green Show episodes on YouTube Shorts. While I love doing the shorts because I can make them in like 2 to 3 hours, some days it feels like I'm making slop. Like people are just lining up and I got my ladle full of chili and I'm just slopping on your plate saying, next, 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 and there's not a whole lot of thought behind it. So the first thing I want to say is, if I don't make a shorts episode, it's probably because I'm working on a longer episode in the future. I think 2 to 3 weeks should be enough time to get a minute-long cartoon out, really to flesh out some jokes and have some more character development. I think that's something I'm missing right now. It would also make me feel like my cartoons are less disposable. The second thing I want to bring up is that I kind of want to make t-shirts. Not to make a profit, not so I can retire off my big t-shirt fund, but just to have physical proof that Somewhere in Nowhere existed. I don't care if it's a run of like 10 shirts. I'll do it. That sounds like a really fun time. If it's not shirts, maybe a mug, maybe a pin, something. Lastly, I would like to try streaming. I think I kind of alluded to it in Limeslush's question, but to just sit down and animate with some music in the background and see some people in the chat, I think that'd be a good time. I don't know how I'll let you guys know. It'll probably be through like the community tab or through Twitter, but just keep your eyes open for that and we'll see if we can get that going. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to share today. Again, thank you everyone for 1,000 subscribers. See you at hopefully the next 1,000. Yeah, we'll be right back.